Okay, week 2, which is actually going to represent 9 days, because that's our whole time in Cuba. Not as long as we wanted. Originally we were supposed to be flying in 2 days earlier, but I think, as I maybe mentioned on my last one, we had to change our flights from America, so we arrived on the Wednesday instead of the Monday, and then we'd already shaved off like 3 nights at the end because it was going to be much cheaper to fly to Mexico, thinking we had enough time. So 9 days, brilliant. Cuba is amazing. I think like literally everyone who's been has said this to me. They could have easily stayed longer. We definitely could. It's big island. We did the 3, I guess, most popular, or 3 of the most popular kind of locations for holidayers and backpackers. So we spent a couple of nights in Havana to start with. Havana is pretty crazy city. It's it's there's poverty in a lot of places, but there's also like lots of people just hanging out on the streets having a good time. Loads of cats and dogs, like loads of them just chilling around on their own. Don't think they knew them, so that was like something that was quite striking. A couple of days in Havana, we went to a place called Fustalandia, which if you've been on my Insta, you'll see some really crazy cool photos. It's like was previously like in a kind of poor suburb of Havana, and there was an artist there who's basically spent the last 25 years like decorating firstly his own house and then the entire neighbourhood with these crazy tiles. Look at some photos of that, because that was awesome. And then a bit of fun that we had, we tried to go out on the first evening to a nightclub which we've been recommended to, called the Havana, or the Cuban Arts Factory, which is like a cross between an art gallery and a club. Turned out it wasn't open. We'd agreed for the guy to take us there for $10, which we thought was a little bit steep, but wasn't really that much between the two of us. He drove us there. This was on a Wednesday night, and it was closed, which he definitely would have known in hindsight. He then starts sort of saying to us, in what will become a recurring theme really for the rest of the trip, is that we don't really understand what people are saying to us, but he said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll take you, quote unquote, to the best club in Havana." I thought it sounded dodgy. Rich was a little bit more up for it. I was like, I don't think this is exactly the kind of thing that we've kind of been warned against, like people just taking us to random places. We were like, "No, it's okay, take us back." And he was like, no, trust me, it's really close, very close, let me take you, we'll take you, show you, you don't like it, we'll come back. We're like, oh, okay. Anyway, he drove us. We stepped out, and within like 4 seconds we were surrounded by like 8 prostitutes just on the street. He like walked us up to this building. We were like, no, this is dodgy. And I think, long story short, he just took us to a brothel. So within about 4 seconds of standing outside, me and Rich were like, nah, take us back. He was being like, no, come in, you're gonna have a good time. Like, there's no music coming from it or anything. It was dodge. So we got back in the cab, and he was like, okay, I'll take you home, no problem. 50 cook, which is $50. Bear in mind it had been 10 to get us there. We were just like, no. Am I going to swear on these? Yeah. We were like, no, fuck off. Like, take us back for 10. We've 10 to here, 10 to there. And he was like, no. And ultimately he like stopped the car and tried us to get out. And we managed to compromise with him for $30. Which is an absolute outrage, to go somewhere, not do anything, and come back again. But we didn't really have much of a choice. Neither of our phones were even working. And then when he dropped us off, which was annoying at the time, it was quite funny in hindsight. He was like, we obviously didn't tip him, because he just mugged us off, and he was like, "What? No present for me? No present." So, yes, that was literally our first night in Havana. So we got a taste of what everybody says, almost like a rite of passage for Cuba, I think, getting kind of like screwed out of some cash. We did make it back to that club the next night. It was legitimately brilliant, really cool, like a sort of hipster Cuban night out, so that was great. Then we got a car. Like, you kind of rock around in Cuba in these things called colectivo taxis, which is exactly what it sounds like, collective. So you share them with anywhere between like 3 and like 15 other people, if they're sort of minibuses or sort of large old Cuban cars. Went to a town called Vinales. That was beautiful. It's a small town, like we're quite famous for people going there. We went to like a tobacco plantation. We sort of rode around on some horses. Went to a lake and went swimming in the lake. Met some English girls. Actually, 2 of them were Scottish, so apologies for that. But yeah, like hung out with them for a bit. Had quite a good night out. We were there for the Friday and the Saturday, so we saw some really cool. I say really cool. Like, we saw lots of live music in the town centre for free. It wasn't really cool. In fact, the Friday one was an absolute shocker. Me and Rich waited around for like 45 minutes for this band to start, and when they came out, they were like one of the worst bands we've ever seen. But that was quite funny anyway. Vinales was really cool. We had to stay an extra day because I got really ill. So like the cab came to pick us up at like 8 in the morning, and I was just like, can't get on. I've been up all night. Spare the details for this, but yeah, it was okay. We stayed there, and then we went to Trinidad, which is a bit bigger, sort of colonial town on the south coast, which was like a good sort of 8-hour drive from Vinales, so that took most of the day. But then we got there, did some cool stuff there, stayed there for like 4 nights. So we met an Argentinian girl and a German guy called Sebastian and Ines, who we hung out with quite a lot. We went to the beach with those, really beautiful beach there. We just did our first bit of sunbathing. I was all geared up to just sit on the beach all day. Rich taught me into doing some snorkeling, which I do like. Obviously went out there, thought it's fine, tried the GoPro, did a bit of snorkeling, obviously then got stung by a fucking jellyfish, which absolutely killed. I like got on the boat, back onto the boat. We were like way out at sea, like a mile or 2 miles out at sea from the beach, and I'm like, shit, is this bad? Like, what's going on? And the boat driver just looked at me. He's like, "Oh, jellyfish!" Started absolutely cracking up. So that kind of put me at ease, even though it was killing. And it was, to be fair to it, was all right after a couple of hours. And the next day we went. Oh, we did really cool. We walked all around like these amazing waterfalls where you can like jump in and swim. I took some GoPro stuff there too, so I'll try and post that up on this new soon-to-be hit video blog. So yeah, I mean, just awesome Cuba. Like, we chilled out there in Trinidad, and then we got, oh yeah, the boring last day that we got a cab from Trinidad back to Havana Airport, which we thought was going to take like 6 hours based on how long the other ones had been taking. He did it in like 3, just absolutely rammed it. So we were at the airport like 7 hours ahead of time, and then our flight was delayed by over 2 hours. So having left our hostel at like I say hostel, casa. I should not talk about the casas, but you just stay in people's houses, which is kind of weird and a bit cool. At like 8 in the morning, we then went to we arrived at a place we stayed in Mexico 1 a.m. the following morning. But yeah, Mexico City. I will save that for the next one. Also very cool. Cheers for listening. Love you.